I want to play my Gibson Les Paul Studio. We're going to find out if it's any good. This video isn't like other videos out there, you know, where they talk for like 7.5 minutes and only play the guitar for like a minute, maybe a minute and a half. There's going to be some talking, but there's going to be a whole heck of a lot of playing. This is also a 2013 model. Has the same specs, aside from two little things of the most current studio before they changed to the modern studio. So just a heads up. And as always, the signal chain is listed in the description down below. There's also chapter markers, so if you want to jump around, you can do that. But enough talking, let's get after it. So you can't do a review on YouTube without talking about the specs, right? Try and do that quickly, and then we'll get back to 5 more sound samples. So starting off, we have a gloss nitro finish on a slab of mahogany. The mahogany, on top of the mahogany, there's a whole bunch of different routings here to make it lighter. This one here is... It was referred to as the ultra modern, then it was referred to as the modern, so it's got the most amount of carving here to make it lighter and keep sustain. Then we have a carved plain maple top with no body binding, but to be honest, the carved maple top has an outline and kind of looks like binding. We then have a slim tapered mahogany neck with... I think this is actually rosewood, however the spec sheet for 2013 said granadillo. Does not look like granadillo. It has all of the characteristics of rosewood, but I'll say granadillo because that's what the spec sheet said. It also has the trapezoid inlays, and it is also unbound. In front of the headstock, you're going to see the silkscreen Gibson logo along with the Les Paul model. Logo, and then we have the studio truss rod cover. On the rear of the headstock is where you will find, normally, Grovers. However, in 2013, they did have the Kluson vintage deluxe tuners here. I personally prefer the Kluson style tuners. However, a lot of people out there do prefer Grover over the Klusons. Then we have the Nashville style bridge, so Tune-o-matic and a stop bar. We then have 4 Gibson branded potentiometers, which are loaded through a PCB. The 2 volumes here are push-pulls to give you coil tapping. There's also a 3-way toggle switch. That controls the 498T and 490R pickups. That's enough about the specs. Here's 5 more sound samples. Alright, so now that we've heard those 5 sound samples, the next part, I always say the same thing. I'm doing this to appease the internet. It's to prevent tears from forming themselves into comments. I find it beneficial. I think there's something else I think that I like a little more, but we're gonna play this clean with all 3 pickup combinations. But I've always found a little more benefit, again, this is personally, so I prefer to hear it this way, with a little bit of light drive, just to hear how the pickups react. So here's that. So we talked about the potentiometers. They are PCB, they're not hand soldered. We do have push-pulls here, but let's go ahead and just wiggle some knobs and hear what the volumes and the tones sound like. Now, a lot of Gibson Les Paul studio owners have told me over the years that the 498T and the 490R are the perfect pairing because they are basically PAF pickups. I've heard from numerous people that Gibson has never made anything closer to the PAF style than the 498T and the 490R. So just for fun, I have my Gibson custom Les Paul 1958 standard that has the Custombuckers in it. I'm doing this for fun and just because I really want to play this, because I've been playing this all morning. And yeah, we'll do the 3 pickup positions here. You might not be able to hear any difference, but hey, maybe that's good for you if you're looking to buy, this rather than, cutting off an arm and a leg to get this. was just fun for me. But I did state we have some push-pulls here. So basically what this does is it is supposed to turn the humbuckers into somewhat P90 style. So I have other videos where I actually use the push-push or push-pulls, and I do a comparison with P90s. So you can take a look at, I have another studio video, it kind of does the same thing. It's not really, it's like in between. Like it's not a Strat or a Telecaster single coil, definitely not. And it's definitely not a P90. It's kind of like a reserved P90, I guess you would say. But it definitely has its tonal options and tonal capabilities. So let's go ahead and just hear what they sound like. And it would be foolish of me not to mention that they no longer make the Gibson Les Paul Studio. They no longer make the Gibson Les Paul Tribute. What they did was they combined the two, and they have like a cutaway on the neck heel. So basically now they have the Gibson Les Paul Studio, exactly the same as this one here. However, it's satin nitro. And again, like I said, they have a cutaway at the neck heel, so it's a little easier to reach. And they have like cosmic black hardware. It also had like, I think somewhere in the neighborhood of like $1,000 Canadian price difference or price jump. I'm not sure where I sit with that. I don't think I would buy one of those, especially when you can get these at realistic prices on the used market. But I thought it'd be great to do a comparison between the Les Paul Tribute and the Les Paul Studio here. They're not the exact same. This has a slim taper neck, obviously has gloss nitro cellulose finish on it. This has the rounded profile, so not the baseball neck. It's like in between a slim taper and the baseball neck. And we have satin nitro 490R and 490T pickups, 498T and 490R. This has push-pulls, this does not. Yeah, other than that, they're basically the same. So let's just go ahead and do a 3-pickup comparison, or 3-pickup position comparison, and we'll be on our way. right, so now that we've heard all of the different sound samples and all the different little comparisons here and there, that should give you maybe enough information to kind of judge for yourself whether you think it sounds like a good guitar. But sound, you can make a lot of guitars sound good. The big thing I've always found is feel. Feel is much more important to me than how a guitar sounds, because again, you can change how a guitar sounds quite easily. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of information on kind of feel and whether I do think this is or not a good guitar. And I do have to start out by saying this is the absolute best Les Paul Studio that I've ever played. I had a white Les Paul Studio in 2007 that I really hated. It was absolutely horrible. There was a ton of overspray. If I played for like 20 minutes, it felt like there was like gum all over the back of my neck. I had to wipe it off and it was fine for another 20 minutes, but it was really, really bad. And it just, I don't know, it felt clunky. This does not feel clunky. This has a lot of what a lot of Gibson players usually talk about, mojo. This is absolutely fantastic. And there was one reason why I bought this, because at that point I said, you know what, I don't need another studio because I have one at that point already. I'm addicted to sunburst, like the tobacco sunburst. And especially when you look at the back of a guitar, I know it's stupid, but if you actually see where they have the sunburst, it's black here at the neck heel, that just really intrigued me, along with the, what some people call war wounds. I don't know if you can see that or not. Ton of, like, this guitar was used really well before I got it. But yeah, I'm one of those geeks where I absolutely love sunburst finish. Especially like a nice 3-tone, 2-tone, or tobacco sunburst. So it was why I got it, but when I got it, I was absolutely out of my mind surprised, because I started playing this a little more than I was playing my standards. I've since moved back to the standards, and I've actually went to custom shop, just because those things they're evil, basically. But yeah, this is an absolutely fantastic guitar. It's as far as feel-wise, usually when it comes to weight-relieved Les Pauls, some of them just feel like there's nothing to them, and you get a little more of that low end, and it's not like a really nice low end. What you want is a nice balance, right? Because what they do is they relieve it so it retains sustain. Sustain, not presence and resonance. So this here has a nice balance of that resonance and presence. So you actually feel a lot of like the mid-tones when you're playing. And it doesn't just feel like there's nothing to the guitar and like it's just vibrating on your gut when you're playing. And I also have to say the 490T and 498T and 490R pickups here, they are really nice. I do personally prefer the Custombuckers over them, but I mean, there's a major price difference in each of those, and they are set to be a specific type of sound. This will just get you almost any tone that you're looking for rather easily. And when you're doing your adjusting of the like bridge height and neck height, there is some subtle differences that you can kind of get some really, really good sweet spots. And again, there's a nice balance of presence and resonance in this guitar. I find that it's very comfortable playing leads on this. I've had Les Pauls before, I don't own any of them now, but I've had Les Pauls before where when you're playing up high or on the registers, they just feel really weird. Probably because of like the over emphasis on some of the resonance that you're feeling. But this, because it does have like some nice midtones in it, it's not like snappy like a maple neck, but it feels solid when you're playing. So it's not like plucky or anything like that. And same thing with playing rhythm on this guitar. It is a very comfortable slim taper neck. I do prefer a chunkier neck. I do like the baseball bat chunky C. Probably why I have a 57 and a 58, and I was a little shy on getting a 59. But the slim taper here on this and my Les Paul Classic and the Les Paul Standard 60s, they are probably one of the best examples of slim taper necks that are very comfortable to play. All right, so that's all I do have to say here on this guitar. Yes, it is a good guitar. I'm sure in the comments some people will tell you that they've been playing their studios for years, and if people actually did watch the 498T versus the Custombuckers, I'm sure you're going to read in the comments, yeah, the 498T is way better than Custombuckers. Custombuckers sound like crap, because we all have allegiances, I guess, right? But they might just prefer it as well. So that is all I have to say. Yes, I think it's a good guitar. If you can pick one up at a decent price, prices have really gone up over the last couple of years because of the pandemic. And if you're on the, like, I'm probably going to be selling this, so I'm absolutely sure that, like, if I don't end up trading it in to a music store, I'm just going to be bombarded with a million different offers of, like, you know, $4.78 because I must be trying to get rid of it, kind of a deal. So pray for me if I ever get to that point. Thanks for watching.